Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Raven Nole Show. I'm your host, Raven C. Nole, and I hope that you are doing well. Whether you are listening to me bright and early in the morning or you're wrapping up your evening, I hope that your day has gone well or you're starting your day well. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Whether you are a faithful listener of the show or you're joining me for the very first time, as I always say, thank you for being here. It is truly an honor to be able to pour into you in this capacity and just connect with you via the podcast. So before we dive into today's episode, hit that subscribe button for me so you never miss an episode. And do me a huge favor and leave me a review if you're streaming via a podcast streaming platform, or even better, if you're watching me on YouTube, leave a comment below this video as you tune in or after you watch this episode, and just let me know how you felt, what you thought, and some of your takeaways. I love responding and reading every single post that I receive. And again, you commenting, leaving me a review, this helps me to reach more listeners and make a greater impact for the kingdom. Now, let's dive into the meat of today. I want to dive into a topic that I don't think we always understand the impact of. Now, I always tell you how excited I am to be before you and how excited I am to start this podcast episode or whatever podcast episode that I'm on. But I really mean that. I really take great joy in being able to bring forth a new level of perspective and to basically shift your mindset about certain topics, right? I really enjoy challenging the way that you think and challenging the way that you perceive information or just how you're going about life. And today is going to be one of those episodes. Today's topic, again, I don't think that we understand always the impact of it. I don't think that we always understand just how much weight it really carries. I think we often overlook the value of a good name and the worth of a good reputation. But all in all, you can't have a good name or a good reputation without good character. So today, I want to dive into why your character is your currency. Isn't that title good? Isn't that title just a little juicy? Right? Your character is your currency. Now, when I talk about currency, your mind may have automatically went to money, right? Coins, some type of monetary gain. When I'm talking about currency, I mean something that holds high value. I'm not talking about what can be purchased or bought. And I'm definitely not talking about you being purchased or bought. Because listen, these gifts, they're not for sale, okay? I'm saying your character, your reputation, your name carries value. Now, sometimes when I start to talk about this, because this is the first time that I've mentioned this isn't the first time that I've talked about this point because it's really a belief for me. Sometimes when I start to talk about character and currency and, reputation and a good name, I hear people venture into the space of not caring what people think of them, that we're not supposed to care what people think of us, and we're not supposed to care about people's perception of us, and, if people like us or don't like us, and all those different things. And I get it. I get it because I absolutely agree with that, because ultimately we live for the approval of God and not the approval of people. However, when I'm talking about a good name and a good reputation, again, I'm not talking about if people like you or don't like you. I'm not talking about if people accept you or don't accept you. I'm not talking about if people are on your side or if they're not on your side. A good name and a good reputation has to be earned by good character. So when I talk about a good name and a good reputation, this has nothing to do with people's opinion of you and everything to do with what's attached to your name. All right. Now, in Proverbs 22:1, the Bible depicts what this looks like and lists 4 specifics pertaining to good character, a good name, and all those different things. Now, these 4 specifics are honorable behavior, godly wisdom, moral courage, and personal integrity. None of that had to do with people's opinion of you. It had everything to do with how you display yourself It had everything to do with how you represent yourself, how you carry yourself. Honorable behavior, that's behaving in a way that's honorable towards others, towards yourself. Godly wisdom, is wisdom attached to your words? Do you navigate your life through the lens of wisdom? Moral courage, are you brave? Are you bold? Are you courageous? Personal integrity. None of that necessarily has anything to do with a person's perspective of you or their measurement of you as pertaining to if you are someone that they like or dislike, and everything pertaining to what's connected to your name, what your name displays, what your reputation displays. And the thing about this is you want to have a good name, not just on earth. You want to have a good name in heaven as well. Come on, somebody. You don't want to just have a good name when it comes to how you interact or engage on this earth. You want a good name in heaven because, listen, my personal integrity should not just reach the human capacity. My personal integrity needs to reach heaven as well. My reputation with God is important. And you should feel that your reputation with God is also important. But here's the kicker. We don't just wake up one day and embody good character. We don't just wake up one day, put on our clothes, and we're like, you know what? I'm going to just go for a stroll with my good character. We don't just wake up one day and just decide that, boom, 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 I'm going to have a good name and a good reputation. Character has to be tested and tried and then fried to the side. All right. Listen, it has to be tested and tried. Because the only way that you can get the natural state of this flesh out and you can develop into who God says that you are, and you can develop into who God desires for you to be, that thing got to be tested. It has to be tried. You got to be put under some pressure to determine what's in that heart. You have to be put under some pressure to determine what comes out of you when you are not in the best situations, right? What comes out of you when you are in pressurous situations, when you are in stressful situations, when you go up to that counter, let's say you're about to check out. You done had a long day, right? You at the checkout line, you got your groceries. They started to check you out. You've been crunching for time and, kids at home or whatever you got going on. You got work stuff. You got stuff that you are doing ministry wise. Maybe you got stuff with your spouse. Maybe you got, responsibilities over here that you got to do. You got a lot on your plate. And there's just been a lot happening that day, right? And so you get up to this cash register and you're about to check out. And the employee, they got an attitude. The employee is snobby. They not friendly. They making it seem like, you are at fault. You rushing or they're rushing you, whatever that is, right? And then you go to pay and they shorten you on your change. You're supposed to get $20 back and they done gave you $16. And so now, how you going to respond? Right? All the stress of the day is hitting you. The fact that they taking forever to check you out. Now they done shortchanged you. All these different things. Maybe they done dropped something that you had up there that you wanted to take home, but it done spilled. How are you going to respond? That is a test of character in that moment. I want you to think about another example. Maybe you're at work and your boss came in with just seems like your boss is out to get everybody today. She or he's been picking on you all day long. I need this right now. You need to get this into me right now. Maybe they're being rude, not being the most respectful. How are you going to respond? That's a test of your character. Okay. And so this is what I mean, that you don't just wake up one day and embody good character. When you were younger, maybe in your early 20s, maybe you are in your early 20s. I don't know who's listening to the show, but for example, in your early 20s, you may not have responded correctly compared to how you may respond in your mid 30s or your mid 40s or your mid 50s. You are more developed in your character. You've had a lot of testing, a lot of trials that has helped to define and shape your character. And listen, you've been fried and flipped to the side. Life done threw you through some stuff, through some grease. And so your character has been developed. Your character has grown since your early 20s all the way until where you are, or your teens all the way until you are today. Now, this is why the Bible says Good character has to be earned. A good name has to be earned. It talks about it being earned. You have to work up to a good name. You have to work up to a good reputation. It doesn't just happen because you desire it to happen. You have to actually go through some things to ensure that when that pressure is put on you, how are you going to respond? Are you going to respond with personal integrity? Are you going to respond with moral courage? Are you going to respond with godly wisdom? Are you going to respond with honorable behavior? That's a real thing. That's a real question. And so the unfortunate thing about this is that sometimes we don't respond the best. Sometimes the situation gets the best of us. But you have to understand in any situation who you're representing. And so it is my belief, however, that the foundation of good character is humility. When we can move ourselves out of the way and we can respond in a way that we understand that this is bigger than us. Because listen, pride destroys character. And this is why people that have a lot of pride are unable to see their own faults. I know you either been there or you know somebody that's there. Anytime you present something before them, anytime you try to, let them know maybe how you feel or how they've treated someone else, it's always the other person's fault. Whatever it is, it can never be them. They are always blaming someone else or pushing the blame to whatever else can be blamed instead of doing what integrity says and facing themselves. Honestly, when you think about it, a good character, again, the foundation of that is humility, but pride will destroy good character. Now, another thing to note is where humility is found, there is also the fear of the Lord. Those who have a true respect, honor, and awe of God, they're not going to be out here living any kind of way. If you respect the Lord, if you understand that you are a representation of the Lord, that you are a representation of Christ, you want to represent your Father well. I know I want to represent my Father well because I have so much respect for the Lord, because I have so much honor for the Lord, because I have so much reverence for the Lord. Again, we understand that when we go anywhere, when we encounter people, when we engage with anyone, we are representing Christ. And you should want to represent Christ well. You should want to represent your Father well. You should want to represent your Savior well. But sometimes the past, maybe we didn't represent him so well. But that's not to make you feel bad about those things, but this is to kind of put more attention to the need and the necessity of good character and a good name. Now, the reason why I say that your character is currency, because whether, again, people like you or don't like you, your name speaks for itself. When you hear anyone that you esteem to have a good name, when you hear their name, it speaks for itself. When you hear the name of someone who does not have a good name, it speaks for itself. So you may not be everyone's cup of tea. You may not be everyone's favorite. But as long as you have honorable behavior, godly wisdom, moral courage, and personal integrity, that will carry you further in life than any riches or wealth ever could. It's Bible. And that is what I choose to live my life by. So I want to encourage you again. And I want you to be reminded your character is your currency. Thanks for rocking with me today. Until next time, keep thriving and making an impact.